Here we have a dataset I've extracted from IMDb, the Internet Movie Database. This file contains almost 132,000 different movies and information about the year it was released, how long it was, what type of movie it was, who directed it, who wrote it, and how it's been rated by the internet community in terms of both the average rating on a scale of 1 to 10, where higher scores reflect more favorable ratings, and how many times it's been rated. So the movie The Lost Boys, released in 1987, is a 97-minute comedy horror movie directed by Joel Schumacher that received an average rating of 7.3 across over 122,000 ratings. Right now, the movies are just sort of randomly listed in this file, but I may want to sort this dataset by movie title, or by year, or by genre, or by rating. Excel has an easy option for sorting datasets. From the Data ribbon, you can use the Sort button. And I have a separate video that walks through the basics of sorting data using this button. And in my opinion, this option works just fine if we just want to sort the data once, get it organized the way we want it, and then leave it. But if we plan to manipulate the dataset often, sorting it back and forth across different column labels, and filtering based on multiple categories of data, then there's a more powerful, more dynamic option called filtering. What we'll want to do is toggle the filter button on and then apply the filters that we're interested in. So let's first see how to turn filtering on. From my version of Excel, you can get to filters in two different ways. From the Home ribbon, you can find filters in the Sort and Filter dropdown. Select Sort and Filter, and then find Filter. Or from the Data ribbon, you can click the Filter button. Once this option is enabled, you'll see that each column header, the labels along the top row of my dataset, have been transformed into drop-down menus. And when I select a drop-down, for instance, when I select the drop-down menu for year, I'm presented with a lot of options for sorting or filtering the dataset based on this variable. If I sort largest to smallest, then my dataset is organized from the most recent movies to the oldest movies. I can also filter the dataset to only show a certain year. For instance, say I'd like to just see movies released in 1992. I could select the Year filter dropdown. I see that right now the Select All box is checked, so the dataset is currently showing me movies from every year. Since I only want 1992, I'll uncheck this box. Now no years are selected. Then I'll scroll to find 1992, and then I'll select that box. And when I click OK, I see that my dataset is now only displaying movies released in 1992. Now, a few important notes are worth mentioning here. First, we didn't get rid of any data. All of the other movies are still in my dataset. They're just being hidden for as long as this filter is selected. As soon as I turn off the filter, those movies will reappear. So don't worry about losing data. Filters are just temporary views of the data. Second, we can tell that a filter is being applied to the dataset because we see the row numbers on the very left of the dataset have switched from black to blue. And we know where the filter is being applied because if we look at the year header, there's a filter icon where the drop-down button used to be. Once you start using the filter option, you'll want to get used to scanning your dataset to check if filters are being applied to the data. Sometimes you may forget that you've applied a filter, and then you think you're looking at the whole dataset when you're actually just looking at a filtered subset. If we ever want to get back to our whole unfiltered dataset, we can just click the filter button again, and all of the filters will be removed and our full dataset will be displayed. The neat thing about filters is how quickly you can sort based on different criteria, and how you can create complex rules for sorting data. So I love a good 90s action movie. I want to see a list of popular action movies released in the 1990s that received an average rating of an 8 or higher. Let's apply some filters. First, I want my view to only see action movies, so I'll toggle the filter button on and then select genre. From here, I could select any of the genres that include action, but we see it gets a bit messy because some movies have multiple genres: action, action adventure, animated action adventure. So I want to tell Excel to select any of these movie types as long as it includes action. To do this, I'll apply a text filter, and I'll use the contains filter. Now Excel says, show rows where genre contains, I'll type action here. Notice I could include additional rules, but this one is enough for me right now, so I'll just click OK. The row numbers are now blue, so I know I'm looking at a filtered set, and I can see that Excel has filtered out any movie that is not an action movie. Since I want action movies released in the 1990s, I'll apply a second filter based on year. So I select the year dropdown and choose my filter type. I see Excel lists every year that's available in my dataset, so I could unselect all of the years and then select just the years from 1990 to 1999, like this. Or I could apply a number filter. Here, I want movies between a certain date range, so I'll select the between number filter. The task box says, show rows where year is greater than or equal to, I'll type 1990 here, and is less than or equal to, I'll type 1999 here. So now I'm telling Excel to just show rows of movies from the 1990s. Now I can scan the top row to see that two filters are currently in place, one for year and one for genre. The third filter I want to apply is based on the average rating. I only want movies that received a score of 8 or higher. So I'll select the average rating dropdown, choose another number filter. Here I want is greater than or equal to, and then enter 8 in the box so that this task box says, show rows where average rating is greater than or equal to 8. When I run this, I see that our list still has quite a lot of movies on it. But a lot of these movies have high ratings, but were rated very few times. For instance, if I sort by the average rating, largest to smallest, I see that some of these 90s action movies scoring high on this list were only rated a handful of times, like Urban Rangers or Pandilleros. I'm not sure if I trust these ratings based on so few votes, so let's apply one more filter. Let's try to filter out any movies that haven't been rated enough. I'll select the number votes dropdown, choose a number filter, and look for the above average filter. This will automatically determine the average number of votes in this column and then select only movies that received an above average number of votes. Now I'm left with a list of popular 90s action movies that received an average rating of 8 or higher out of 10. Some of these, like The Matrix, Terminator 2, and Jurassic Park, I definitely expected on the list. But to be honest, I've never seen Leon the Professional, so it looks like I've got an option for my next movie night.